Hello, everyone. It's Graham and Steve with another Wow Ergonomics coming to you at our favourite time, but on a different day. It's Tuesday today. So if you're confused and thinking, oh, is it Wednesday already? No,
Yeah.
sorry. You do have another day to go before you get to hump day.
I was going to say we haven't quite reached hump day. There'll be a lot of people out there going great, and no, it's not. It's Tuesday. There's a lot of disappointed people.
The thing is with this particular hump day as well that's coming up is this is a hump day of hump days, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
And the reason being is that for any of those people that started, as I did, at the beginning of January with dry January, this is the last Wednesday before dry January gets a cessation. So this is the hump day of hump days in January. All right.
Was Wednesday your usual drinking day, Graham? Just out of interest.
No, it's not. But this is the last. Yeah. So this is the hurdle. But here's the annoying thing about dry January this year for all of those that have been doing dry January, and well done to all of you that have succeeded so far, is that the end of the month, unfortunately, doesn't fall at the weekend, does it? It falls on a Monday, which means that you've now going to actually have to do a month and a whole week, really, before you can have a drink again.
Or there'll be a lot of people with hangovers on Tuesday next week.
Yeah,
as they just can't wait.
next, wow, we might find that there aren't so many people around.
Yeah.
So there we go. We are having a great conversation just before came on about light.
We were.
I've got a couple of new lightsabers. Yeah, which help with the old studio light here. Unfortunately, because they're a cold light source, unlike light sources that used to be quite warm, they're not actually doing anything in terms of heating my hands up. So, and I'm trying to keep the heating off as much as possible here because of the fuel crisis, which is really upon us. I had an interesting email from our provider of fuel during the week, which wasn't a great read. I don't know. Have you had a similar experience yourself? Have you had anything from?
No, this isn't anything to do with sending you socks or hugging a pet or something like that, is it?
I wish they were. Yeah. That would be. Is that okay? Like all good advice taken in terms of heating? No, it was a genuinely open letter from the CEO of this energy provider saying just why all of this is happening and explaining in great detail what how much of a loss they've been making in terms of selling fuel to us at the prices they had, and how they generally don't see an answer to the problem. And one of the things that's being looked at, this is a really interesting topic. One of the things that's being looked at is the idea of spreading the cost of people's fuel, because they believe that there's going to be another price hike.
Oh no!
Again, spreading the cost of people's fuel into the future.
Right.
So people may be actually asked to pay for their fuel beyond when they have their fuel.
Yeah, that's not going to go down too well at the minute, is it? With everything else,
it's getting dangerous. It's getting dangerous out there. So yeah, it's we could have a situation like they did in China that time with the next generation having to take on the mortgage of the generation before.
What I'd really like to see with fuel, Graham, is, and I know I flippantly said about hugging pets and pairs of socks, but I wonder if there are any ideas out there, really, really sort of game-changing ideas that people have got that will help everyone. For example, people who use tumble dryers all the time, and maybe you could, rather than doing that, they hang their clothes up. But I wonder if there's any ideas out there where there are, well, we do this and we do that, because rather than, if the unit price is going up and that can't be avoided, what can we do to drive down consumption? So I'd love to know if there's any, like a Martin Lewis type sort of website out there that says, well, have you tried this, do that? And, there'll be people out there who will be sort of going, well, that doesn't happen to us because we do X, Y, and Z. So that would be an interesting one. If we can find out how do we use less without having to hug a pet or put extra socks on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the obvious one is solar panels. I don't know what's happening with the solar panels at the moment. Are solar panel sales going through the roof? It's something I think we'll probably start to look at. Do we get solar panels, put them on the roof? Do we start to generate more of our own electricity ourselves? What's the cost of that? But if the cost of buying electricity is going to go literally through the roof, then
or on the roof.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's a good question. If you put solar panels, and someone might know, if you put solar panels on your roof, does it make your roof warmer anyway? Does it insulate your roof? Does it help?
And what if it's not? And this is and I should know this, but if it's not very sunny, what happens then? Do they not work, or are they still able to pick up some sort of heat through cloud or something like that?
I don't.
Or do they store it from when it's sunny and then it's released at those periods when it isn't sunny?
Yeah, that's a good question.
We need some sort of scientist, or there'll be someone out there who can answer all these questions, I'm sure.
Yeah, thanks to Alif for joining us. IT management and communication. How are you finding it? Have you had anything through from your electricity people at all? We will be playing the game a little bit later. I'm going to try and hold off on the game a little bit today. We have got some guests lined up. Hopefully one of them might actually turn up. We've got 2 guests that we were lined up, so hopefully at least one of them will turn up. I spoke to both of them this morning and they both got the link, so we'll wait and see. Anything else kind of grabbing your attention in the world of work at the moment?
Well, interesting one. I went to the hospital this morning because I dislocated I think we mentioned it on the show. I dislocated my finger a number of weeks ago, and I went back for my
plasters off.
Yeah, and it's
that. No, you're careful.
Yeah,
it's that one.
It's that bump there you can see.
Oh wow,
yeah. But chatting to the physiotherapist when he arrived, I was there for 8:30, and he actually apologised for being late. I said that's no problem. He said he'd noticed in the last week alone, his drive-in was taking about 25 minutes, and he said he'd noticed already this week it was taking double. It was taking up to 50 minutes now to get into work, and he simply said he's actually noticed in the last 3 or 4 days since the sort of the working from home edict was sort of dropped or phased out, he'd actually noticed the traffic had significantly increased, and it had doubled his journey in to get into the hospital. That was quite interesting that it had already sort of had that impact, just in the space of since Thursday, wasn't it? I think he'd already seen within 3 or 4 working days a real significant increase in the number of people on the road, obviously or presumably going back into the office who'd previously been basing themselves at home.
No, that's really interesting. Now, can we combine those 2 conversations that we just had? Is there any way that we could actually capture anything from a car and actually put it back into our home? Now, there's an interesting thought. Someone needs to find a way of actually using exhaust fumes for the good of everybody else. Right?
Carbon capture or something like that.
Yeah. And I don't mean like that. I don't know whether you ever saw that episode of Top Gear where Jeremy Clark's they had to make a journey across the country carrying fish, and and then they had to sell them when they got to the other end, and they were trying to keep the fish alive, and it was all going wrong. And Jeremy had a freezer system that he built out of the engine, that was keeping the fish cold because it was a hot country. And then that broke down, so he then had the clever idea of smoking the fish. But
in exhaust fumes.
But he used the exhaust to smoke the fish, and they were smoked, but in diesel, which wasn't necessarily. There you go. Oh no, bad connection. You got a bad connection. Oh dear. We're finding less vacancies, and now recruiting from home and now purely office based. Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Thanks, James. Right, it's time to get our first guest of the day on. All right, who is behind the door? It is, ladies and gentlemen, Tim. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Tim.
Hey. Hi, Stephen. Hi, Graham. Hey. How are you?
Yeah, all fine.
Good, thank you.
You're very perky there, Tim. And I have to say, what a great collection of trainers.
Oh, thanks very much.
Are they all yours, or other people own a pair as well?
Yeah, no, they are actually all mine. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. Yeah.
I was thinking there was a bowling alley behind that door, so that's all the shoes where you go temping bowling.
No, so this is the converted garage. So behind there is our garage, and it's the only room that I'm allowed to have my running shoes in. So I'm not allowed them in the house. So they've got to be in here.
So now, Tim, just explain for everybody that's watching, what is it that you do? I think there is a clue there.
There is a big clue there. Yeah. So I'm a running coach, and hence the running shoes. But so yeah, my job is to help people do their best when it comes to training for events that they want to run as individuals. Often that's marathons, but it can be all kinds of different events, including 5Ks all the way up to ultra marathons and beyond. But I also work with companies as well as part of their well-being agenda, putting on running clubs for companies and things like that, delivering online coaching and training and webinars and stuff. And when I'm not doing those things, then I'm volunteering in the village with our local running club. We are on week 3, and it's great just to get to know more people through that as well.
That's brilliant. Now, what sort of companies take you on in terms of a running coach? Because that's quite interesting. And do they actually allow their staff time to go running?
Yeah, that's it's really interesting actually. I'm just starting to get into it, so I haven't worked with a huge number of companies just yet, and it's trying to get your name out there. A lot of them are kind of IT type companies, or quite large companies that have got a physical site and hundreds of employees in one place. So that tends to be the kind of the fit of the kind of company that I'd work with, just to make it most viable, and they've got enough people for it to actually benefit people rather than just having 1 or 2 come running with me. So that all kind of kicked off during COVID time. So a lot of it was delivering online sessions with people so that they could ask me questions about how to get into running, what they can do to improve or get better, and other things they can do outside of running to help them actually improve their running. So it's not just about running, but it's strength and conditioning and all the kind of personal trainer type stuff that I also do as part of my many different types of thing that I enjoy doing.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that I've always been told with running is that you've got to do the warm up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Now, the only issue that I had with doing the warm up is that the warm up then took as long as the running. So it's again, for me, it's the time element. I mean, just how important is it that people actually just make a little bit more time in the day for physical fitness?
Oh, it's so important, not just for our physical health, but for our mental health too. We're all here today. I imagine we're all sitting down, and quite a lot of people are, very sedentary in a lot of the work that they do. But our human body isn't built for doing that. We've been made and designed to move and to be active creatures. So, even just a 10-minute walk around at lunchtime would be massively beneficial, both physically, but also to your mental well-being, just to give your brain that space to just take a break from a screen. But also, I listened to a really interesting podcast from, it was Dr. Rungan Chatterjee, but he was talking to someone who was really into his neuroscience and saying how even when we're wrestling with a problem and we're really intentional about trying to wrestle with it, our brain will work to a certain extent. But then if we go away and we try and do something else, the brain will continue to try and work on that problem without us consciously realizing it. And often they're the kind of the knowledge bomb moments when we work out a solution or figure something out and we get to try something new. So if we never give our brains that kind of unintentional time to process, when we're doing ourselves a bit of a disservice. So I'm a massive proponent of getting away from the screen.
Well, it's actually partly to do with the fact that you use the other side of your brain as well.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think it's to do with the fact that one side of your brain can work on logic problems, etc., etc. But then when you actually physically move, you've got your brain actually has the other side of your brain has to kick in, because you have to do things like balance and stay upright.
Yeah.
and actually move, and actually that requires the other side of the brain to come in, and it's because you're actually sort of balancing out your brain in a way that put another look at the problem comes in. There was a software company not too far from me here for many years, and they actually had a tennis court outside, and they used to say to all of their developers, you got to go out and play tennis once a day, regardless of how rubbish they were at tennis. Because as you just say, that is literally where the genius moments came in. They'd be stuck on a problem, and then they'd go out. And I've seen it time and time again. I expect Stephen has as well within businesses. When I used to go and assess people, they'd say, "Oh, I can't take a break away from the desk," and you say, "You're already doing it, right?" Because you'll get to a point where you're like, and and you can see it in an office. When you walk into an office, you can see people that are like, and they think they're working, but they're not.
Yeah.
They're just there. You could literally go like that in front of them, and it's like, they zone out. People zone out. They lose their ability to be really sharp and focused. So, no, absolutely. Bit of exercise didn't hurt anybody. Ever.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. I was at the National Running Show at the NEC this weekend, and they were interviewing an elite athlete who went to the Olympics, and one of their questions was, how long do you spend on a warm up? And this lady said, "Oh yeah, usually I spend about an hour warming up." And honestly, the number of people who just turned around and started walking away was incredible, because actually it's not realistic for most people to even consider something like that. Even if you can just do 5 minutes, bouncing up and down on the spot, doing some marching, swinging your arm, doing a bit of skipping before you then go for a run, actually that can be enough just to start waking up your muscles and giving you a better start. Often a lot of people complain about the first 10 minutes being the hardest, and it's called the toxic 10 minutes because a lot of people just aren't ready for running. So, just like preparing for a podcast or preparing for a presentation in business, you wouldn't just go into it and make it up as you go along. You'd practice and rehearse and prepare first. And it's the same thing with our bodies for running. We need to make sure that we're primed and ready to then enjoy the fruits of actually going out and exercising.
Tim, what's the biggest sort of misconception around warming up if you maybe coaching some pure amateurs? What's the sort of thing you see that people have just got completely wrong that actually is probably increasing the pain or dislike they have of running?
So the first one is that there's no warm-up whatsoever. The first mile is their warm-up is quite often what people will say. And the other thing is the way that they are doing any kind of movement. So if you're doing a static stretch, a lot of those things are more likely to get you injured if you're doing them pre-run than post-run.
Okay.
So the warm-up really is active movement. So you want to be marching, skipping, jogging on the spot, high knees, kicking your legs up behind your bum, things like that.
So all this
active.
Yeah, and it's like, and that's the other thing as well. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
sometimes
all the things that I do.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Sometimes I look at people warming up for a run, and you think, actually, you're not even going to use that part of your body.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
well,
Yeah.
What?
do you know, it's really funny when you if you go to like a 10K or half marathon race and you get there, you drive up in your car and you've got about an hour or so before, and you can see people running around and having a go. Then you think, oh my gosh, what you're doing? You're like, you're using up all your energy, doing all this elaborate warming up, and you're just not ready for it. And I mean, you never see those people in the race, probably because, you know, they've died a death and have to walk half of it.
Yeah, no, far better to be in McDonald's, isn't it? At that time, having a cheeky McDonald's or coffee,
or watching everybody have one and making yourself feel better for not doing
absolutely.
it.
I only mentioned that because I noticed that Stephen had a cheeky McDonald's the other day, didn't you, Stephen?
Did I?
Well, you said you were coming live from McDonald's.
That was a coffee.
Oh, it's a coffee.
It was a toffee latte. So.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that's a good warm up for a race.
Yeah, I wasn't running after that. So one of the things, Tim, I did a local fun run, which is about 8.5 miles, and when we get the train into town, obviously we walk home afterwards via the pub because we've earned it by then. But the guy I run with always brings a bag of jelly babies and insists that we scoff them before the race. Is that actually doing us any good or not?
Do you know, jelly babies are actually one of the things that I will give people as a recommendation if they're not used to having energy gels or things like that, because it's a quick release sugar energy source for the body, and it's the preferred way that the body gets energy is through glucose. So that's a good thing. Do you know, when I first got into running, I almost don't want to say this, but I thought, you know, the perfect combination would be for me to eat Haribo and run, because it's two things that I really love. But honestly, trying to eat Haribo in February when it's freezing cold, it's not going to happen. I nearly choked on them. So, but jelly babies work. Jelly babies are good.
Well, I was going to say, there must be a disclaimer here. I assume that, you know, a few jelly babies works, but, you know, a massive great bag of them.
Grab bag each.
Yeah, definitely.
We're going to run this race now.
So definitely moderation. But I think the general guidance is about 45 to 60 grams of carbohydrate per hour that the body can realistically process.
That's a small handful, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense.
We've been doing the right thing, but just too much of it then.
Perhaps.
The bit I always struggle with, and I'm sure it's the thing that everybody else struggles with, is the breathing.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how do you get that right? Because it just hurts. When it's cold, I mean, I don't mind it when it's warm. I love running when it's warm. Yeah. When it's cold, that hurts.
Yeah, I suffer. Well, I say I suffer from asthma. I don't get it hardly anywhere near as much as I used to. But in the colder weather, it's much more of an issue. So there are a few things you can do. So one of the things is trying to warm up the air before you breathe it in. So if you wear, you know, the little snoods or buffs that you can get around your neck or around your head, you can put a thin one over your nose and mouth, and that can warm the air up before you're breathing it in, which can really be beneficial if that's something you struggle with. The other thing in terms of breathing is to really think about where you're breathing from. So a lot of people, when they run, they almost adopt a footballer pose with their chest puffed out, shoulders up, and kind of trying to look quite macho. But that's kind of doing all the wrong things for trying to help your body cope with the act of running. What you really need to do is try and breathe deeply down into your belly, into your diaphragm. And you can almost practice this at home now. If you put your hands or fingers on your belly, and you should feel your belly come out as you're breathing in. So if you're doing that, that's how you're breathing diaphragmatically, and that's a much better way of trying to breathe in the cold air, because you're just getting more oxygen, which is going to get to your muscles better. So yeah, try to avoid the short, shallow breathing and try to really breathe deeply. The other thing as well I'd say about breathing is, for those people who like counting particularly, try and breathe in and out over an odd count. So for example, if you're going to breathe in for a count of 2 strides and then breathe out over 3 strides. Okay, so and then you can alter that. Obviously, when you're running uphill, you might get to a 1-to-1 kind of breathe in, breathe out, because it's so much harder to run uphill. But the idea is just to work out and play around with it and see what works for you. So what's comfortable, because we've all got different oxygen needs, but also different fitness levels. So that can really help in terms of breathing, so that you don't feel like you're ever really, really out of breath. And the other thing as well is, a lot of people tend to do a lot of running too fast. So if you find that you'll go out of breath all the time when you run, it's likely that you're just running too quickly for your fitness level, and you just need to slow it down.
I mean, I found that last summer when I was doing it a lot, every day. I found all of those things. I found once I got into the breathing, then it was fine, but it took me a while to understand how to breathe. So I guess the answer there is don't give up and just.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to give up breathing.
No, I mean, experiment with your breathing, if you see what I mean, so that you kind of get it right. And definitely you've got to find the right speed to go off at, because it's so easy to go off far too fast and then realise half a mile down the road that you were trying to be Usain Bolt and it doesn't work. Yeah. And the other thing is, don't go out with your kids. definite no, especially if your kids are really good at running,
because you
just feel awful.
Yeah.
No motivation in that whatsoever.
Pride can take a big hit, can't it?
Oh yeah, my youngest son, my 13-year-old, he's just built for running, whereas I'm built for hitting people with my body. And that's what I did at school. I played rugby and things like that. But he's just built for running. He's got he's all muscle, no fat, nothing of him, and he just goes like that. He could just run all day.
Ever tried tripping them up as they try and overtake you, Graham?
Yeah, well, that is actually a technique.
They won't do it again, will they? So.
Yeah, that's the technique I use. Yeah. So thanks for coming on today, Tim. The other thing I want to know is, from anyone that's been doing this in the workplace, etc., is what's the daftest question you've been asked? Has anyone asked you how you can run and have a Zoom meeting at the same time? Or
so I haven't had any.
Yes to that, isn't it?
No, honestly, I've never had any really, really left field questions like that yet. So I'm definitely open for taking some of those kind of crazy questions on. But no, honestly, the number of questions you get, actually, they really do kind of make me feel really humble, just to think, at one point I would be asking that question to somebody else. And I think that's a big part of my role is trying to make people feel safe to ask whatever they want, so that they get the answers they need. Because quite often, even though I've been running for a long time, it's really easy to forget some of the initial questions that people might ask of you. So that's one of the reasons I do these. I do 3 5-day running routine challenges every now and again, a few times a year. So anyone who's wanting to try and get into running can come along, and that keeps me really humble as well, just to understand where people are kind of starting from. So yeah, I mean, that's basically my mission, is to try and get as many people into running as possible and help them do it without getting injured or giving up.
Where are you based, Tim?
Yeah,
I'm based in Castle Donington, so it's kind of in between Leicestershire, Derbyshire, and Nottinghamshire.
I know where it is. I'm just down the M42, so not too far.
Donington. Okay. There you are. You get all the best gigs, don't you?
Oh, we do. Yeah, all the best gigs. Loads of super bikes and fast cars and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Mind you, it must have taken a little bit of a hit with COVID.
It was really interesting when East Midlands Airport is right by us as well. So when COVID hit, suddenly there was no airplanes in the sky, and then when they started back again, it was really interesting, because all of a sudden we noticed them again. Yeah, because it got to a point where you just forget that they're always in the sky. So that seemed quite a novel thing when they came back. And yeah, you're right as well. The racetrack, when the wind's blowing the right way, we can hear everything, or the wrong way, we can hear everything. Yeah.
Now, Tim, do you have time to stay with us and play a game, or do you need to go?
Oh, I'm always up for a game. I'm quite competitive, so
brilliant. Okay. I don't know whether we've got anybody else watching at the moment that wants to play the game. If you do want to play the game, there is a prize up for grabs. I don't know what the prize is, but we'll think of a prize.
We'll think of a prize.
Yeah. But it's a very, very simple game. I'll explain the rules as we go along now. Basically, Tim, we devised this game a few weeks ago. The idea was that we used to do a game where one of us was blindfolded and we had to guess a particular ergo object. And then we thought, no, let's make this a little bit more interactive. So have you got a mobile phone in front of you?
I have, yeah.
Perfect. That's all you need to do to play this game. So in a minute on the screen, I'm going to bring up a screen, and it's going to have a little URL, a web address to put in, and a number. You put that number into your phone at that URL, and then you can take part in the quiz. We're going to have a number of multiple choice questions on a product from Backer Alkhuizen, who sponsored the show, and who Stephen works for. Okay. See, now
I can only lose from this, can't I? You see, really.
The main prize is that Stephen gets to keep his job.
Yeah.
If he manages to get the questions right.
Okay.
You know, so
no pressure then, Stephen.
All
no
to
pressure.
play for. All to play for. And today we've picked one of his favourite products, haven't we? And in fact, Stephen, do you actually have one there to show us, or?
No, because you only. Well, actually, you've sort of. You gave me a heads up as to what the product was, Graham, didn't you? Really, which you're not meant to really do, which was slightly unfair. But I don't have an example of it, unfortunately, because I do use.
You use one of those,
but
so
not.
It's a similar mouse to that. It's a vertical mouse. Okay. And so here we go. I'm going to share screens now. How exciting. Vvox. There we go. Thanks to the guys at Vvox for letting us use this again. And we're going to look at this session. Here we go. So can you all see that on your screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got it. So on the left-hand side there, if you want to play along at home, vvox.app, you just put that into whichever browser that you know most enjoy, Safari, Chrome, whatever. For those of you that don't know what a browser is, and then once you've done that, you shall be asked for an ID, and it will also ask you for your name. That's very good. If you can put your name in as well, then we'll know who's actually playing and who's taking part. Fantastic. Okay, so just come back to the session here. So we're going to start this session. You'll see us down the left-hand side. If you see people wincing, etc., you know that it's a difficult question. As normal, all of the questions are about the vertical mouse, apart from maybe one, which will have something to do with something random. Okay, and just have a guess. Just have a guess. That's all I'm going to say to that. So we're going to go back to Vvox, and I'm going to start today's session. All right. If you want to like other people's questions or whatever, you can do that as well. So the first question today is, according to the Backer website, the Evoluent D wireless mouse design was inspired by more than how many years of experience and research? 16, 12, 18, or 24? And you can see people voting there. You have one at 24 and one at 16. And the correct answer is 18. Nobody got that one right. Oh.
I'm sort of disappointed I didn't get it right, but equally pleased that Tim didn't either, so I'm technically not behind.
This mouse, according to the website, has a very short temper, angle, climatization time, or warm-up time. Oh, I like that. And the correct answer is, I think it should be temper. Climatization time.
Oh no.
Do you want to actually explain what that is?
Me?
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's a product. If you're used to using a standard mouse, it's a completely different product. What we're saying is actually it doesn't take as long to get used to it as you maybe would think. I mean, I've taken it along to demonstrations for people who've never used this product before. Within a couple of minutes, they can get used to it. One of the big fears around this product is it's so different to what they've used previously. And it's like, oh, it's going to take me a long time. I don't think I'll bother. Actually, it's very easy to get used to this product and get working in that more sort of productive and healthy way. So it's just to sort of settle people's minds, shall we say.
Exactly. It's all about education as well. Yeah. I mean, it goes back to what we were saying about the running. if you've got the right guidance from someone like yourself, in terms of the running, then it's far easier to actually acclimatise to doing that running, isn't it? So that's why you need the guidance there. The small model fits hands up to how long from the top of the middle finger to the edge of the wrist? I mean, clearly, we'll all know this one.
Graham, have you put a typo in for the fourth option?
No, I deliberately chose that.
Okay.
Because I thought maybe someone might just choose that. Now, this could be a Minnie Mouse. Both of you going for 178 mil. The correct answer is 178 mil. Very well done.
Got one right.
There you go.
Well up and running.
He was busy measuring his hand. The medium model fits hands from 178 mil to what millimeter long from the top of the middle finger to the edge of the wrist? Wow. 190. That's both of you. 190. Okay. The correct answer is 190. Is someone following someone else here?
I followed that time, but I did actually genuinely know it was the answer.
Okay.
But this is what happened the first time we did it.
When you
someone just started following me.
Yeah, they just started, and they played a clever game, didn't they?
Yeah.
So by using this mouse, it means your lower arm rotates outwards, inwards, or round less. Both going for outwards.
We answered at the same time as well.
You did. Absolutely bang on the nail. And the answer is inwards.
Oh.
Yeah. Think about it. Right. When you use a standard mouse, your lower arm rotates inwards, doesn't it? Yeah. Not outwards. Who uses a mouse like that? Research shows that using a vertical mouse allows users to heal quicker from arm, wrist, and hand injuries, according to who?
do we get half a mark for RS?
Yeah. Who is it and which year is it?
Do you know, for the fun of the competition, I'm going to go with something different because I did look up and see what Tim had put. So there we go.
Okay, and the answer is no, it was in 2001. Yeah. It's not a well-known fact, actually.
Yeah. Clearly not.
Surprised you didn't know that.
No.
Right. Only 3 more questions left. So, Wham were an English pop duo formed where in 1981? Was it Sutton Coldfield, Southampton, Bushy, or Shepherd's Bush? Now, what we have to explain here is that Sutton Coldfield and Southampton are 2 of our friends' favourite football teams.
Who supports Southampton?
I thought you supported Southampton.
No, Sunderland.
No? Oh, Sunderland, that's right. Yeah, Sutton Coldfield, isn't it? Yeah.
That's who I go and watch. But now this one, let me try. I think it is. It's one of the bottom 2, and I'm going to go with Bushy.
Are you? Okay, interesting. Right, and the correct answer is yes.
Oh, well done, Stephen.
Oh. You know now you can bring that up when you go to one of those pub quizzes in the future and they ask that, you'll be going, yeah, I know that. Yeah. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the weight of the Evoluent D wireless mouse? Is it 155 gr, 150 gr, 165 gr, or a lot of gr? Now, I bring this up, Stephen, because again, I feel this might be something that the web people might want to look at. Because what is a gr?
It's a bit like a gums.
It's like a grams, which is GM, isn't it? Yeah. It was, again, a good spot of mine that I noticed that actually certain other things had GM behind them, but this particular mouse had gr as a weight.
I will feed it back.
Yeah, thank you. But we're assuming this is grams. So what is the weight of the Evolution D wireless in grams? One of you's gone for 170, one's gone 165. Anyone going for a lot of gr? The answer is 170. One of you got that right. Was that a yes I heard? Yes. Final question. What is the top DPI? Do you both know what DPI means?
Does it mean dots per inch?
Yes, good man.
Well done.
Is that a bonus mark?
Yeah, bonus point. Well, let's see. If it's a draw, then I think maybe you get it for that. Right. So, what is the top DPI of the Evolution D wireless? One has gone 3,200. 3,600. Okay, all rests on this one. The correct answer is 3,200. Well done. Well done. Let's show the leaderboard. There, we had a clear winner, 6 out of 9. It's the winner today, and the winner was Stephen. Well done.
House is saved for another job, saved for another week.
Oh,
I'm glad I've contributed to your continuing employment, Stephen.
Thanks, Tim. I'll be faxing over that £50 to you when this finishes.
Great share. Tim, just so we know, how is your ergonomic setup there? What's it looking like?
Yeah, I've to be honest, I've got a swivel chair with wheels that I've been recommended by a lot of other people who, have said it was good. I'm perhaps slouching a little bit in it. Actually, I should be sitting up a little bit better in it.
It looks as though it's a bit too high on you. That's what I would say.
Do you think?
Yeah, absolutely, because it's coming up right into sort of the neck area, which is, quite often will then round the shoulders and push the shoulders forward. I tend to, would always tend to recommend that the chair actually sits to encourage your upper limbs to come back.
Okay.
So where would you say, Graham? Normally the top of your the bottom of your shoulder blades. Is that Is that too?
I would say around here as opposed to up there, because the likelihood is it depends on the shape of the back, and you can't really see from here, but it can cause the shoulders to then round forward, and so that. But there you go. That's because, do you see, the thing is, when people recommend a chair for people, they go, I got this chair, it was really good for me. But everybody's different.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like saying I recommend a pair of trainers for you, right? My trainers are brilliant, but actually you've got feet that have got a particular arch in them. In fact, my trainers are size 11 and you're size 9.
Yeah. No, you're right. I was going to draw exactly the same parallel when people ask me, what running trainers should I buy? And then I kind of go off on one about, how they need to be fit and suited to that particular person's feet. So, yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I've fallen into that trap with my chair, haven't I?
Yeah. Maybe get a cushion on it, sit a little bit higher on it. Might encourage your arms to go back a little bit more. What about in front of you? Where's your laptop? Is that raised up? Do you have a separate keyboard and mouse, or
so
you're not on a laptop?
I'm on a laptop. My laptop's in front of me, just flush on the desk. And my mouse, this is going to be horrific for you all, isn't it? My mouse is just the pad on the actual laptop, and I'm using a webcam up here, so it's kind of high level. Yeah.
Speak to Stephen afterwards.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I was going to say, Graham, can you put Tim's LinkedIn profile in the comments, and then I can connect, and others can connect as well, and we can remedy his issues.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll
Sounds good.
we'll get that sorted out for coming on and playing. We'll get that sorted out for you. And then
Cheers.
maybe you can just go and tell people just what a benefit and what a difference it is. And at the same time, talk a little bit about the old running. Oh, we've got lots more people join. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, guys. Warm up time. Yeah, absolutely. Get out there. Do your warm up. Make sure you do your warm up first. Don't just warm up your fingers like I've seen some people do before running. Yep, ready now.
Yeah. That was you, wasn't it, Graham?
Yeah.
I put my trainers on. That's it.
Yeah, warm up does not mean that you go to Greg's and get a sausage roll. That doesn't. Okay. That is not a warm up.
Is that after? Running. Is that when you've finished? You've sort of burnt the calories off, so you got a bit of credit, so you can just top them back up with a sausage roll.
I noticed that you brought that up. That's one of the things that so many of us do is we kind of reward ourselves for exercise with eating, or drinking, or doing stuff that isn't actually very good for the body. It's a kind of a weird thing that we do. And I suppose that's a habit we really should get out of, isn't it, Tim?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of that unhealthy relationship that people have between food as a reward and exercise. Even to the extent, I saw a post on Facebook from a marathon event. I won't say which one, but just saying, when you've done this particular distance or whatever, then that means you can have, almost like you needed to do the exercise to have permission to eat whatever you want to. Yeah. And I just, it really grinds my gears, because, really the whole reward of exercise should be that
feeling good.
You're feeling good, and actually you're getting fitter and healthier just from the run itself. Yes, you absolutely need fuel, and I wouldn't be the only one. I don't ask anybody to limit necessarily the nice food they have, but I think it all comes down to balance again, doesn't it? We're all sensible human beings, and I do think sometimes we just make nutrition far more complex than it really needs to be.
Yeah. When we talk about nutrition, Graham, and ergonomics, it still takes me back to that story about you've told, and we've had this on the show a few times, where you went to do the assessment of the lady, and you discovered she was having McDonald's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. It was just like...
Oh gosh,
it happens. It happens, Tim, and it sounds horrendous, doesn't it? It sounds like, why on earth would someone do that? But if you think about it, we kind of all do that. We fall into the habit of convenience. And for her, it was like, she lived local to where she worked. She'd get up in the morning, she'd walk past McDonald's on the way. So, for her, it was, I could get up later, and I could just go and eat this on the way, and then it's not far from there to go there again for lunch, and then I can eat there on the way home, and I don't actually have to think about my food intake. I can literally just walk past this building and take it in. But she was falling asleep at work on a regular basis, and I don't know where her blood sugars must have been, but utterly ridiculous.
I mean, she'd literally have no fruit or veg intake, would she? There's
no.
It would just be here. I mean, I'm thinking I'd struggle. We all like a McDonald's as a treat, I'm sure. I'm thinking maybe I could have that. Could I maybe do one day of doing that? Maybe two. But I mean, for that to be a long-term relationship with food is quite staggering.
Yeah, and to be able to, I mean, my stomach is a pretty decent judge of whether or not I've eaten well, because it just starts making awful noises or various other things. But I think you're right, Graham, because I see it in the village where I work. All the people who work, on the industrial estates near the local co-op, they're all in there at lunchtime, just almost like they've left their brains somewhere else, and they just go and buy the same old thing every single day, and don't really think about whether or not they necessarily enjoy eating it or tasting it or what's in it. They just, they're on autopilot, and it is quite sad to watch sometimes.
Well, it's one of my big missions that I'm really trying to push, is to try and get businesses to stop doing this stupid thing for induction. And you see it all over social media.
Yeah.
Right. which is when someone joins a company, right? They post that post on Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever, and it's like, I've joined the company today. I was really sad. It was my last day at work, but I've joined this company, and let me show you what I've got. And here they open this box and they take a nice photo, and inside it there's chocolates, there's a bottle of fizz, there's a stupid hat with the company name on it. I mean, who's ever going to wear that?
Yeah.
You know. And there's a there's a pen with a, but the point is, what is that actually saying about that company? I mean, yeah, it looks great, and it's like, oh, thanks for buying me this as a gift for joining the company, but I'm really, really concerned about that induction process, that onboarding process for people into companies, because if we started doing it properly, what we should be doing is when that's the best opportunity, when that person joins the company, we should be saying, okay, you're going to work here. Part of our ethos, part of our culture is we believe in helping everyone to be fit and healthy and productive. All right. Yeah. And in order to do that, and we're talking to a client at the moment who's a financial advisor. He's trying to get into that sector. So yeah, they should be offering some free financial advice to that person, completely anonymous, but in terms of the feedback to the company. But here's some financial advice. Do you want to talk to a financial advisor? We'll pay for it so that you get your finances sorted out. Let's talk to some people about exercise. What are you doing? Here's a gym pass. Here's a pass with Tim to go running. All right, we'll get some running advice. Yeah, absolutely. So Tim, you should be offering that if you're not already. Here's some nutrition advice, and maybe you get a veg box or something, organic veg box once a week, and we'll sign you up for that. These are the sort of things that should be in induction packs.
Yeah, I think there's a huge long way to go in terms of modeling the right kind of things, or being seen to be doing the right things. Something that I've thought about a lot has been for companies to be able to say, right, where roughly do you live in terms of your commute? If they are not working from home or anything, you could drop your car off here and jog in, or you could drop, you could get a bike from here, or so-and-so meet up on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday and, cycle in and back to this place. There's so many better, safer alternatives now available than there ever used to be in terms of, using exercise as a way of commuting, or at least part commuting. And that's actually one of the ways that I got into cycling and running more. Was I was fed up with driving into the middle of Nottingham for a job. And so I ended up cycling initially there and back, having a shower at work, because again, there were facilities. So I was quite fortunate in that respect. But then eventually I built up my ability to run. And so I'd cycle in one way, run home the other way. And then it was only like once every fortnight that I'd actually take the car in to change my shirts and all that kind of business. And, I felt great, but also in modeling that, I got to know other people who started doing that as well. And we had a really good community there of like-minded people who actually were seen as maybe a little bit strange by, older members of staff or whatever else. But actually, it made people start to question what they were doing for their own health.
Absolutely.
It's a great conversation to have. Yeah.
Christina, who came on our Better Way of Life show the other day, I don't know whether you saw her, a fantastic guitarist, absolutely shredded the guitar. Absolutely. If you eat crap, your body will become crap. It's like filling bad gas in your Lamborghini, which is your body. Yeah. Quote of the year. Absolutely. I think that's that could go on the t-shirt right there. Thanks so much for joining us today, Tim.
Cheers,
hope
Tim.
You've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned a little bit about ergonomics. We've certainly learned a lot about running. Take that away. I hope other people have learned, it's not so scary, right? If you're thinking about it and you're thinking, well, I'm too old, I'm too fat, I just don't know whether I can really do this now. I've been sitting down on my backside for too long. How do I actually get started? Go and speak to Tim. Find him on LinkedIn.
Absolutely, pleasure to chat to anybody who's looking to get into it, and it's been a real pleasure coming on, Graham and Stephen. So thanks for having me.
Welcome.
No, yeah, thank you very much. We'll see you soon. Bye, sir.
Cheers.
There you go. What a great guest today.
Super guest.
Thanks to Tim. Yeah, well, it's a lot to think about, but I think I've got to get back out there. That Tim's motivated me. I'm gonna start it again. I just wish it would warm up a tad.
Yeah.
That is the only thing, because it has been so cold. Do you think we're going to get this snow again?
I hope not.
No.
I mean, especially for your running, Graham, as well. The cold is clearly your Achilles heel. So I
did see a great post on LinkedIn this morning, which was saying why the Finns are so much better than the rest of the world when it comes to endurance and weather, etc. And it was commenting about what we all call different cold spells.
Okay.
And it had England, say, with the beast from the east and whatever, and then when it went through different countries and they all called it different things, and then when it got to Finland, it was like, we call this Tuesday.
Yeah.
Which that tickled me. I just think, that's absolutely right. In some countries, they don't complain about the weather like that.
No. We have a bit of an obsession about it in this country, don't we? It sort of dictates what people. I think people use it as an excuse to not do things.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's like going out this weekend. Nah,
it's a bit cold. It's going to rain. Might rain this afternoon. Nah.
Yeah, but it's like that most weekends.
Yeah, get on with it.
Just go and get on with it. Even the dogs agree in the background. Yeah, he's saying, "Yeah, I need to go out. Come on, get off your backside."
Lunchtime walkies, isn't it, Graham?
I think that might be on the agenda. So next week, I can't remember what day it is next week.
Do you want me to check? Hang on.
Yeah, let's just double check. We're into February next week, folks. Believe it or not. Wow.
Wednesday.
Normal
Wednesday, 12 till 1. So we're back. It's just at a couple of, with my diary moving around. So yes, back to our Wednesday noon slot next week.
And just before we go, big news. We have very, very, very big news, which is, of course, this now exists. WowErgonomics.com.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this show, and next week I'll make a big deal of it right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a good idea. But yeah, if you're watching this show and you want to get involved, you want to stay in touch with us, do go to WowErgonomics.com. We're going to start putting some stuff there that could be of interest to you. There is a link to Backer Archives on there as well, so you can go and find out a little bit more about what they do and some of the products, etc. But if we've got any news, we will be putting it on the website. Maybe we'll have a little sign up for future guests on there.
Yes.
If
someone wants to join, they can drop their info in there, can't they? We can absolutely get them on.
There's a German. We'll leave Christina with this. There's a German saying on the weather topic. There is no wrong weather. There is only wrong clothes.
Yeah,
that's
correct.
That's very good. That's very good advice. As I say, in England, we don't follow that. We blame the weather for absolutely everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's why it's been quite refreshing having something else to moan about for the last 2 years. Because it means we haven't been moaning about the weather quite so much. Not saying that COVID's a good thing.
No,
but it certainly has changed the topic of conversation. See you all again next week. We look forward to seeing you then. Do go to Wow Ergonomics, check the website out, put it in your browser history so that you're keeping in touch with us. And we'll see you then. Bye for now.
See you next week.
Bye.